Great, morning everyone, day 25. This will be taking us up to 2,500 press ups, which is a huge number. Okay, so let's get a first batch underway. And today I'll be talking a bit about my thoughts on growing old. Okay, 35 so far. I've been thinking about how things change as you age. So I think the simplest sort of parameter so if we think of age on the x-axis from 0 to, let's say, 100 years, and then you can change the parameter on the y-axis to see how different things go up or go down as you age. And so looking at, I guess, physical health, that goes up. From when you're a child, you become stronger, fitter. And from my understanding, for men, probably until the age of around 25 to 35. And then after that, your natural physical health declines. Now, of course, there's a distribution around that average level of fitness. So, there are some people who will be much fitter when they're younger, some people much fitter when they're older. But generally, I think that's the case if we exclude accidents, injuries out of the way. So for physical health, I am probably just edging out of my natural peak window. And so I guess what you want to be is an outlier then, and then rather than have your fitness decline, you want to try and maintain it as much as possible for all the health, longevity, injury avoidance benefits that come with greater strength as you are older. And then thinking about that same axis, but for sort of cognitive ability, of course, again, it increases, you become more, I don't know what the right word is, whether it's intelligent, common sense, capable, IQ. But for me, I guess let's just think about it in a professional, in a social setting. So my ability to work and do my job as a doctor well goes up from 20s, and I think probably peaks in your 40s, 50s, because that's when you have enough knowledge, but experience as well. And then as things like your reflexes, abilities, sort of innate cognitive abilities also start to decline, I think from your 60s, it sort of heads down. And the uncertainty is my question here, which is, when does this happen? When is your natural professional peak? When did things start to decline? Am I still on the incline? I don't know. And I think for professional, but also then for like social cognitive skills, so how you sort of interact with other individuals. I guess if you think about how you interact in a group, and I guess also for your from a non-medical perspective, sort of your social engagement skills, your leadership skills, your learning skills, your management skills. When does that go up? Because I think if you look at the sort of, again, most sort of CEOs, sort of business leaders, and even I guess healthcare leaders, they're in their 50s, right? Again, I haven't done any formal research on this, but anecdotally, people do tend to peak in their 50s, and that could be a mixture. Let me do some more press ups here. That could be a mixture of just sort of the experience, the amount of time it takes to climb the ladder. So it may not necessarily even be the peak time for performance. It may just be a matter of putting in the time. Okay, another 35, so we're up to 70. And the reason I'm thinking about this is because, one, I think innately I can be a bit impatient and have a tendency to try and want the end goal during the process. And if I accept that there is a time before I reach my peak, then it is arrogant to think I should be ahead of where I should be at this stage. So, if we say that innately someone who's 50 has accumulated the perfect amount of experience, cognitive abilities, intelligence, IQ, social charisma to be a leader, or in at the peak of their professional career, then it is arrogant or delusional to think that someone in their 30s can deliver the same thing. Now, I get there are big standard distribution, so you can have exceptional 30-year-olds and the other end of the spectrum at 30, but that will also occur at 50, and so you really are wanting to get in these sort of positions of most influence, power, whether that's a leadership role, whether that's a performance role, whether that's a clinical delivery role. So you want people who are at the best time points in their career to be in those positions of at the top of those hierarchies. And so one, it gives me a sense of acceptance that this is a process, it is a timeline, and you're still in the learning phase, so don't try and get ahead of yourself. And on the converse, if we were to agree that perhaps it is at 35, 36 when you're at your peak of your performance, then that gives you the opposite sort of feeling, which is, now I'm at my peak, now is the time when I should be going for the most challenging problems and trying to do as much as possible and really putting in those hours. I don't think it's 35, 36. And I do think probably late 40s. I think that will become I don't know whether it'll become earlier or later as we go forwards into the future, into the 2030s, 2040s decades. But I think there is probably still another 5-10 years of growth in me professionally, and that allows me to trade off sort of roles and positions and seeking that sort of recognition, and in exchange right now focusing on training, learning and building up my skill set so that in 5-10 years I am the best possible person I can be to then take those roles on. So I think it helps you frame what you should be doing right now. So that's a helpful frame set. And the second consideration I'm thinking about this is when it comes to physical health, we have talked about how you can do regular exercise, certain types of exercise and regimens to maintain and keep yourself as physically healthy as possible. And people also then do things like skincare routines to try and keep themselves looking as physically healthy as possible. What is the equivalent in the professional sort of academic world to keep you as healthy as possible and as cutting edge till as late as possible? Because once you enter your window of peak performance, you want to try and maintain that for as long as possible, right? And you want the drop off to be as slow as possible. So what are the activities and things you can be doing? And I know for things like dementia avoidance, we know that having sort of regular challenges as you're older, doing things like Sudoku, puzzles, crosswords, keeping social interactions up is really important. And I guess that all counts for this as well, but I wonder if there's a more tailored package you can do to try and keep yourself professionally at peak for longer, because I imagine there are all sorts of preventative early things people should be doing in their 30s, so that when it comes to your 40s and 50s, that is that you become as sharp as possible and stay as sharp for as long as you can. So I guess that's something to think about for me. And if any of you have any ideas, please put them in the comments. Great. That's 30 and then 100 done. That's 2,500 in total. See you all tomorrow.